It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups and downs.
Good morning and welcome again to another time with Where You Live with Gene and Tony. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett. Good morning, Gene.
Good morning. We've got a lot on our plate again here this morning to talk about. One of the things that we'll be talking about is the topic of bullies out of the schoolyard and into the HOA. What can a homeowner do? We're going to talk about a situation that's happening in a 55-plus community.
Yeah.
We also have a story about homeowners who are irked. I haven't heard that word for a long time.
What does irked look like?
Yes.
Yeah.
They are irked homeowners, and they're irked at their HOA board and city hall, stating nobody can seem to do anything around here.
Uh-oh.
A familiar lament. Right?
Unfortunately, yes.
We also have a real interesting thing we want to bring up. We'd like to get your opinion on this morning, too. In Florida, this last July, there's a new law that allows HOAs to collect delinquent dues more quickly. And we're going to tell you what that is and ask, should it be enacted here in Minnesota? Do you think it would be a good idea?
Yeah.
And yes.
I was going to say, generally, we want to hear from our listeners.
We
Questions or comments. So call us at 651-289-4488. We really want to hear your opinions on the stories we discuss.
Yes, and we've got this and so much more. So, yes, please give us a call. You can also contact us by email for those that are a little bit more shy. And that would be Gene, Gene, at ncmgi.com. And you can type in your email. We'll get that here while the show's going, and we'll be happy to read it on the air. But now it is time for that special segment called Property Management in the News. We'll try that again.
There it is.
And today, Property Management in the News is a story about train storage that, Bill, we can turn that off now. Thank you. We'll go ahead. We'll go ahead here. We've got a new person behind the board. We appreciate what you're doing here, but we'll have to work on our timing just
and
a
our
little
signals,
bit.
our hand signals.
Yeah.
There you go.
But Property Management in the News today is brought to you by Pest Control Services. When you need to get rid of unwanted pests in your home or rental property, call someone who's responsive, professional, and a proud member of Angie's List. Give owner Greg Keener a call at 952-894-9748, Pest Control Services. Tell Greg you heard his ad on Where You Live. And today's story is entitled, Train Storage Irks Residents. City asked to explore options on dormant cars. In Traverse City, Michigan, railroad cars haven't moved for months on the tracks near the Lake Ridge condominium complex in Traverse City, Michigan. Homeowners are upset with the 15 or so cars that have been dormant since July, apparently there for storage. Their anger is growing toward the homeowners' anger is growing toward the apathy they have seen from everyone from their HOA board of directors all the way to the mayor's office. One homeowner said they could be moved down further, but at any rate, the question remains, why do they have to be stored right there in the first place? City commissioners will take up the issue this next Monday at a specific session. And one commissioner, Jody Bergman, anticipates hearing more about the city's options for dealing with the train cars. She said she doesn't yet know what might be possible since the city doesn't have jurisdiction over the tracks. So they don't know what they can do.
Sure.
I know they've made an attempt to look at different avenues, Bergman said. I don't think anyone wants the city to become a storage yard for abandoned rail cars. So they're trying to figure out what they can do. The Mayor Chris Bizdak said local governments are limited to act when federal transportation corridors come into play. He wants to know whether the city can file a complaint in such a situation and whether enforcing local blight ordinances on rusting cars could be allowed. It's not being used for transportation, it's being used for storage, he said. If commissioners agree the issue is important, then the staff can turn up the heat a little bit. A similar situation occurred apparently 2 years ago near the city of Grand in Michigan when a set of passenger cars was stopped along U.S. Highway Route 31. They were owned by the Great Lakes Central Railroad, who owned the cars. Homeowners believe that that same company also owns the cars near their condominium association. Railroad officials could not be reached for comment. The area where the railroad cars are situated is near a residential and industrial zone space. Residents said they wouldn't mind if the cars were just pushed down the line and out of their view. They've contacted the board, city leaders, and Great Lakes Rail Company, and they would be happy if that were just done. I would hope that maybe we could start to work on this a little bit more aggressively, said one homeowner. They're using our backyard for a scrap pile. Some pretty heated folks.
Yeah, and with a common complaint, they are not getting what they want fast enough.
Yeah, it's one of the things that struck me about this story is the notion of what the expectation is. And it seems like, unfortunately, there's an expectation in our society where someone feels that my job is to gripe. And once I've made that gripe known to people that are in power, whether that be an HOA board, city government,
city council,
all of that, they're the ones that need to jump to and be able to get things moving.
Yeah, there's another piece there too. If I pay money to someone, I should be able to gripe in any manner I want.
Very good.
No matter
point.
how rude. Sorry, I had a personal experience this week that's got me on edge. But people do have this attitude that moderation and civility is not necessary if I've paid you money.
Well, yeah, you did. I mean, tell folks a little bit about the situation that you had, because it's very similar.
Yeah, we had at a mixed use condominium association. We have a dispute going over noise between a renter in a condo and a business that's underneath.
The first floor of the whole
building is
association.
Businesses. Yeah.
Businesses.
And this is a business. It's a restaurant open late. They play loud music. The condo is owned by my client, and we rented it for that owner. And our renter has been miserable since they've moved in there. And we've been working on it for 3 months, trying to come up with a resolution. And we haven't, in my opinion, gotten cooperation from the store.
Well, part of it is it goes back to what the reason I wanted you to share that is with the expectation. The expectation is you're the person that is dealing with management here, so you're kind of in
My
charge.
Renter,
so you should be able to be able to fix it.
My renter expects me to fix it, and it's hard for me to convey to him, I only have so much power. This is your neighbor that's causing you problems owns his unit as well.
Yeah.
And I have no control over that neighbor. I can't evict that neighbor. So the expectation is not always accurate.
Yeah.
To the power involved.
Yeah, it's that was the very thing that the commissioner in this story talked about. She said, I don't know if we have jurisdiction over the tracks.
The city doesn't even know if they can do anything about it yet.
Yes, and so sometimes when people complain, they probably don't stop to think, is this person someone who is a decision maker with this issue?
Sure.
Because one of the things that I think I see folks becoming the reason why people get more irked, more angry, more and more is because there's this feeling that government's there. One of their big purposes is to take care of things for me.
Yeah.
The HOA is supposed to take care of things for
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And people have this unrealistic expectation that you've got to make my life right in all aspects. And I don't know that there's
Yeah.
anything that there's
Yeah.
any guarantee.
Well,
in life.
we're all shorter on patience, I think, than we used to be. I want what I want when I want it, and a lot of people will not even allow time for a process
Yeah.
to take place.
And I think it's a good thing, the fact that we have limited government. It's good that the city government is limited in terms of what they can and cannot do to another
Sure.
business.
Sure, there you go.
They
Or
just
to
get-
other neighbors. I mean, the homeowners in this association say they'd be satisfied if the cars were just pushed down the line. I wonder who the neighbors are down the line.
I mean, think about that. Think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
When they say, all I want to do is just push it all down the line, then I don't have to look at it.
yeah.
Problem solved. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Isn't it? To me, I was thinking, isn't that the same thinking that the people who have the business,
The train car owners?
yeah, who have stuff stored inside there, saying,
Yeah.
hey, this is no problem to me
That's
to,
problem solved.
to have things stored here.
Yeah.
But it does to
Yeah.
those homeowners, and now these homeowners say, let's push it on down. That doesn't solve it.
No, it doesn't.
But some people think that that's a viable solution.
That's right. As long as I get my way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the thing that we're trying to bring up here is that it's going to come up in whether it's a homeowner association, a city, state, whatever type of government entity you're talking about. What should your response be in being just a good citizen? Because I think, Tony, that it's not. I don't think it's good just to complain, just to moan. I stop and think about the people that we appreciate the most, and think about those homeowner association meetings that we've been at. And you have the homeowners forum, and a homeowner steps up and brings a concern or an issue in front of you, the manager and the board of directors. When someone has been thoughtful to try and think about the problem, what the issues might be for both sides,
Yeah.
and try to come up with a beginning possible solution to begin with,
Sure.
aren't those people appreciated?
Very much. And it's much easier to listen to that so-called complaint if the person has given it thought and weighed all sides of the issue and possibly has a solution or a direction to take it.
Yeah.
Your board are volunteers. They are your neighbors. They're not just there for you to dump your issue on.
Yeah, and I think it's, if people would stop and think about everybody's life is busy, and
Yeah.
not anybody more busy than anybody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
But if you take an approach in life where you say, I'm going to be part of the solution, I'm going to be proactive.
There you go.
I'm going to be involved. What we're talking about here are people who are saying, I don't want to be involved. I want to tell you, fix it, and then to be that armchair
Yeah.
quarterback on the
Yeah.
sidelines and say, I'm not going to deal with it, and get angry for someone else for not.
Yeah.
That just seems to.
My son is very good at that. As I think about this, when he comes to me and wants something or has a problem, he often has an idea on how to solve it, and it makes it much easier to listen to him.
Well,
And even makes me more want to give him what he wants.
what you said, you said even earlier too. That's even true in business
Absolutely.
between the employee-employer.
That's right. And I try and do that when I come to you with issues. I have
Yes,
a problem.
yes, you
This is not happening. How about this as a solution? I feel like that's a better way to approach you.
Yeah, and the other thing here is, that in this whole issue that I suppose hasn't been addressed here is, I think these people knew or should have known that they were living in an area of mixed use zoning in terms of
Yep.
how land was being used.
Yeah, that's a huge issue, isn't it? In homeowner association ownership, is people have bought real estate and they don't really understand what they've bought, or they don't pay attention to the details. Like, hey, we're right by a railroad track.
Yeah, that's the reason to really examine
Yeah.
what you're buying before you purchase,
That's
and you're
right.
given every opportunity
That's right.
ahead of time. I mean, if you take a look at the purchase agreement of any property, the things that people have to sign off on, and
man.
they're acknowledging that
Yeah.
they understand the
Yeah,
situation.
that's right. Now, that's not to say that something can't take you by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Like you may have been prepared to hear a train go by once a day, but you weren't really prepared to have warehouse storage and railroad cars in your yard.
Yeah.
I mean that I'm not to minimize that as an issue. It is an
yes.
issue.
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, there is an issue there that needs to be addressed, but the idea that you would not have anything at all because
Ever go wrong? Nothing should ever go
that's
wrong.
a whole another thing. But yeah, so the bottom line, I think if people are going to be an adult and understand the situation,
Yeah.
I think you're going to get a lot farther by being proactive and by trying to be a part of the solution. Well, that is property management in the news today. When we come back, we've got a lot of issues. The topic of bullies next.